Hi, Melanie.
How are you today?
I'm really excited for you and for us that you broke out. You're on your way home. You're free. You passed the test.
I've been sprung.
You've been sprung. All right, for everyone who may just be tuning in for the first time, Melanie and I have been conducting a series of interviews while she has served out her quarantine period, her isolation quarantine period of 14 days after being confirmed as one of the 237 Canadian passengers that were on board the Grand Princess cruise ship that was exposed to COVID-19 and were transported by Canadian Forces to CFB Trenton in Ontario, where on the past few occasions, Melanie and I have talked about her experiences of being in a medical quarantine and how to keep your wits about you and keep yourself emotionally and physically healthy, and really what it's like truly to be on the inside of a situation that you don't have much control over. And here
Yeah.
we are on the outside as the observers, in having a lot more freedom and flexibility than she has. Today is a really big day. So Melanie, please tell us why today is extra special.
Well, today I got sprung. So I completed my 14-day quarantine requirement by the Canadian government. So I actually have my authorization to leave the quarantine facility signed by the quarantine officer. So I'm quite excited about that. So I'm definitely going to take that home and frame it and put it on my wall. So yeah, I'm ecstatic. It's been an interesting emotional day too. When the other buildings started getting released before we did, and when I started seeing the first people come out, I started getting very emotional, and there was tears rolling down my face, but they were tears of joy, But I wasn't expecting the emotion, and I think that probably the most important thing that people need to remember in this whole scenario that we're going through is just to be gentle with yourself, because there's going to be emotions,
Right.
and they're not necessarily at the surface. They kind of sneak in there and get you. So just be okay with that, because it's fully expected.
I think, thank you for sharing that, because it's true. I don't think, well, of course, we haven't had experience with this in our lives, and how would we know how it's going to impact us, and when different emotions and reactions will occur in a circumstance where we're all a little afraid, we're all feeling a little out of control, a little helpless. Just our social interaction has changed.
Yeah.
There's concern for the well-being, the health, the life of some people, and there's so many unknowns. So the reactions to be afraid, to grieve, to be angry sometimes,
Yep.
those those are normal human, um, living being emotions.
That's right. And allow yourself to feel them, but
Right.
don't get stuck in them.
That's the
Right?
trick, right?
Don't get stuck. Talk
No,
it out.
no,
Reach out to people.
that's right. No permanent pity parties.
Nope. Nope.
Instead, what can you do? What have some of the methodologies you've incorporated to get through this the most positively as you have?
Well, I've said it before. Having connection with people is the most important thing. So
Um,
while we're now we're all being asked to self-isolate in our homes, which is an extremely important thing to do. Um, we are going to save lives by doing that. So everybody, I really, really encourage you just to follow the requests. And now some of the places are mandating that we stay in our homes. Do that, because we're going to save lives. But reach out to people, stay connected by phone, stay connected by Facebook, stay connected. my sister was telling me earlier that she's seeing a lot of online coffee groups
Yep.
starting to come up.
Mhm.
A friend of mine asked me today, she said, I'm trying to figure out how to play Scrabble with a girlfriend of mine. And I said, well, both of you grab your Scrabble boards. And when you put a word, she puts the word in the same spot. When she puts a word, you put, I said, just do it on Facebook. And that way, she said, wow, that was really easy. And yeah, I've had a lot of time to think.
Thank you for that suggestion, because I have a beautiful Scrabble board in my living room. Maybe when you get back to Victoria, we can hook up and play Scrabble.
There you go. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. And yes, I have other friends that have hosted a book club online. They have their book and their adult beverages of choice. So there are ways to stay connected. I've pulled out a bunch of note cards today, and I'm going to handwrite some notes to people and send them out so that they know. And
Yeah.
I called a friend from my Toronto lifetime that I haven't talked to forever, and she was so happy that we had reconnected. So you're at the Toronto International Airport right now, and
That's right. I'm waiting for my flight
you
that will leave shortly.
can.
And, I'm just kind of wrapping up my stay in Ontario, which I'm quite delighted about, and heading home.
Right. What's the airport like right now?
Um, a ghost town.
Yeah.
I have some interesting pictures. I'll send them to you so that you can share them with our listeners.
Okay.
It's literally a ghost town. There's really no entries coming in. I just saw a British Airways plane and a KLM plane come in, but that's like two since I've been here.
Right.
And, so there's certainly not a lot of planes coming in, and they're reducing the number of the number of flights, excuse me. So my flight actually got condensed into a much smaller flight, so a much smaller plane. So yeah, it's interesting. And, most everybody are walking around with masks on, which is highly recommended. I actually have my gloves on too, because I don't want to, the virus lives on surfaces, right? So when you touch a surface, so I'm being extra careful. After being in quarantine for 2 weeks, I'm being extra careful.
I am so very, very glad that you're doing that, because we don't want you, after all of this time that you have been, because not only did you have 14 days in Trenton, but you had about 5 days on board ship where
That's
you
right.
were quarantined as well. So no, you've served your time. You've you've made your very, very appreciated contribution to other people's well-being and health. So I thank
Thank
you
you.
for that. And
My pleasure.
and I really hope that the trip home doesn't have any more extra surprises for you. Not everybody got to leave Trenton today from the Grand Princess, right?
No,
So,
there's 13 people that are still there,
uh-huh.
that are still in isolation while they go through the process. They'll be there, from the first day that they got got their diagnosis of positive.
Mm-hmm.
Their 14 days starts all over again. So
Okay.
they'll be going home. So Godspeed to them to get healthy and get back on their feet again.
I can't even begin to imagine the depth of their emotion today to
Right.
see the majority of their fellow passengers. Not You didn't get to know each other, right?
No,
You just
not really.
you've been segregated for safety reasons all of this time. Did you have any kind of chat group or Facebook group for the?
Yeah, we had a great Facebook group that the Canadian Red Cross put together for us. So a lot of us connected that way, and it was great. And, with me taking the extra measure of staying in my room, I actually didn't get to see a lot of those or meet those people outside. But I have actually met a few of the people today when I got here to the airport. So that's nice. I did
Oh,
suggest
that's
this
cool.
morning. Yeah, I suggested this morning in our chat group that we, like about a year and a half from now, we should go and do a reunion cruise so that we can all see each other's smiling faces and recount some of the fun and the craziness and the experience. I'd like to just touch on one thing. we are such a small group of people. We're such a small part of the population. You know, we're 237 of us, like, so the about 3,500 people from that cruise, and then the people from the Diamond Princess. We're such a small piece of the population compared to the 8 billion people on planet Earth right now.
Right.
And it's a very unique kind of experience to go through. So, you know, it's really important we just really remember to be kind to ourselves having gone through it.
You brought to mind, you know, that expression about been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Um, are you thinking about maybe getting a t-shirt for this, Mel? Or
You bet. I think I'll make them for everybody that was in my group.
I think that's great. And I love your idea about having a reunion cruise because, you know, the circumstances around this have really decimated all travel industries, but particularly I think put some stress on people's ideas about going on a cruise. And as you say, statistically, I think more people get hurt in a car accident every year than you know, the minor percentage of people that are caught up in this, all still serious. And I think out of this for sure will come a lot of wisdom and new practices, and you know, it will just increase our comfort and safety when we travel. So
I agree with you.
all right, Melanie, I really appreciate how generous you have been with sharing your experience and sharing your wisdom through all of this. And I want to wish you a completed, successful trip home to your own bed tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would love very much if we could touch base after you've got settled in a few days and just maybe talk a little more because you are a really good news story. And I know I need some good news these days, and I know many others do as well.
Thank you.
All
Thank you.
right.
I would love to do that.
All right. I know your beautiful smile is behind that protective mask, but travel safely and let us know when you get home.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.
Love
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you,
Bye-bye. Love you
everybody.
too. Bye.
Bye.